Me bullied at school. I was the object of bullying for the simple reason that I dreamed about my success. Teachers told me it would lead nowhere. They laughed at me, and when I told them, "You yourselves have achieved nothing, you are the ones stuck in this dirt," the whole class laughed louder. My classmates became even harsher to me, treating me like an outcast, as if dreaming was something shameful. My name was Eli, and I carried that weight with me every single day of my teenage years. They mocked me for my worn-out shoes, for the notebooks I carried that were full of sketches, maps, and scribbles about places I wanted to explore. While others in class laughed about parties and video games, I was fascinated with history, ruins, artifacts, and mysteries buried beneath the soil of forgotten places. I dreamed of being an archaeologist, but at the time, everyone told me it was impossible. Teachers told me to be realistic, as if realism was the only thing that mattered in life. But inside me burned a fire that no one could extinguish. The cruelty of my classmates was relentless. They tripped me in hallways, smeared my bag with mud, and whispered insults whenever I entered the classroom. Sometimes I pretended not to hear, but my heart carried the scars. Teachers never helped me. They acted as if I deserved the bullying for being too different. I still remember one day when I stood up in front of the class and said, "One day you will all see my name in the newspapers, and it won't be because I followed your path. It will be because I followed mine." They all laughed. But I meant every word. When I grew older, everything changed. I left school behind like a cage that had finally rusted open. I began working in small jobs, saving every bit of money I could to study archaeology. Nights were long and difficult. I often worked as a cleaner, a delivery boy, sometimes even digging trenches in construction just to pay for books and courses. But every blister on my hand reminded me of the greater treasure waiting ahead. Eventually, I joined expeditions. At first, I was just a helper, carrying tools, cooking meals for the team, setting up tents in the desert heat. But I learned. I listened. I absorbed every bit of knowledge from the older archaeologists who, unlike my teachers in school, encouraged me. Slowly, my skills grew. I became good at reading ancient scripts, analyzing fragments, and recognizing patterns in ruins that others overlooked. One day, during an excavation in the Middle East, I was the first to notice a series of unusual carvings on broken stones. While others thought it was decoration, I insisted it was a map. Days later, we uncovered a hidden chamber beneath the site that contained relics unseen for centuries. My name appeared in academic journals for the first time. And then in newspapers. That day, I remembered my words in school, "One day you will all see my name in the newspapers." It had come true. The more I worked, the greater my discoveries became. I traveled to South America, to dense jungles where hidden temples waited beneath thick vines. I crossed deserts in Africa, studying forgotten kingdoms. I even led my own teams, and governments began to fund my expeditions. The boy once mocked for dreaming too big had become a man who lived his dream every single day. With time, money came. Fame came. I bought a house not for luxury but to store my countless books, maps, and collections of photographs from expeditions. Yet despite wealth, I never became arrogant. I remembered the pain of being poor, of wearing shoes with holes while others mocked me. That memory shaped me. Instead of chasing empty luxury, I invested in schools, creating programs for children who had big dreams but no support. And then, one day, fate brought me back to my hometown. I was invited to give a lecture in the very same school where I had once been humiliated. When I walked into the auditorium, I saw familiar faces. My old classmates, now grown, tired, living ordinary lives, sat among the crowd. Some avoided my eyes, others smiled nervously. And there, sitting in the front row, was one of my old teachers. His hair had turned white, his hands shook slightly, and for the first time, he could not look at me directly. Shame filled his eyes. I stood at the podium and spoke. Not with anger, not with revenge, but with truth. I told the students present that dreams matter. That being different is not weakness, but strength. That even if the world laughs, you must carry your fire. When I finished, the applause was long. My old classmates clapped too, but their claps felt heavy, forced. They knew. They remembered. And they realized how wrong they had been. After the lecture, some approached me. They tried to smile, to shake my hand, to say, "We always knew you would make it." But I could see in their eyes the regret. They hadn't believed in me back then, they had tried to crush me. Now, faced with my success, they felt the weight of their own choices. Some of them were stuck in jobs they hated, some were broke, and some admitted, quietly, that they wished they had followed their dreams too. And my old teacher. He did not speak. He simply stood at the edge of the room, then quietly walked away before anyone noticed. His back was bent, and his steps were slow. For the first time, I realized that even those who once mocked me carried their own burdens. But it did not erase the shame in his eyes. Life had turned full circle. I, Eli, once bullied, once laughed at, had risen above them all. And not because I wanted revenge, but because I refused to let them define me.